Here we go, it's last week at the auction, America's favorite top 10 list of auction results from around the globe. It's hand selected by me, Josh Levine, your host and guide to the world of auctions. And can you believe it? We're already here at episode 10 of season 2. But don't be sad, because I got a great show for you today, and it'll only take a few auction weeks off to track and follow auction trends and return with a vengeance. So don't worry, I'll be around, and I also plan to test a few new show ideas out on you as well. Sound fun? Also, I decided to make this a supersized edition. So there's not just 10, but a sweet 16. I hope it holds you over for a few weeks. So before you go, subscribe below, and that way I can keep you up to date on all the exciting news. I'd love you to leave a comment. Please share with a friend, because sharing is caring. Oversharing is annoying. And speaking of sharing, don't forget the challenge, 6 ways in 6 days you can help small businesses out. Hashtag 6 in 6D. And all 6 are free. Let's get back to it. It's last week at the auction. All right, coming in at number 16 is a Ralph Lauren Luggage Rack that brought $225 at Abell's auction in LA. Why do I point this out? Luggage racks, one of those things that I've always been amazed at auctions because it's such a simple design and there's not much to them, but they always bring money. I see them sell on average between $50 and $100, and you know, many a picker and even auctioneers would just pass them by or throw them in the lots. Keep your eyes peeled at estate sales and yard sales because that $5 might quickly become $50 or more. All right, number 15 is a bronze Dwarf smoking stand that just did $275 at Leland Little in Hillsborough, North Carolina. Tobacco collectibles are still performing, and this little desk accessory included a built-in match holder and ashtray insert. Oh, I remember the days of smoking indoors, you know. Today it's even crazy to think about it, but I remember my mom smoking in the car and on an airplane, of course in the house, and I think dinosaurs roamed the earth. Not really, it wasn't that long ago, but keep your eyes peeled for all things smoking. Vintage lighters, tobacco boxes and tins, figural ashtrays, advertising and more. It's quite the collectible genre, and maybe it's because smoking's coming back because it's like vaping but retro. All right, number 14, North Carolina Pottery Snake Jug by Fred Johnston just sold for $375 also at Leland Little. You see, you really need to know your signature to do a little research. I find many signed pieces of art pottery are missed, usually due to the fact that the signature is so challenging to decipher. If you buy a piece at an art show or a gallery, I strongly suggest you put a little note or sticker on it, and that way it'll really help out your next of kin. It can also solve a lot of mysteries later and help you or your heirs get top dollar when the time comes. You know, this very well could have been a $20 buy at an auction if it was simply called folk art pottery and nobody knew who the signature was or the artist. It's what makes the great auction houses great too, like the ones I feature, you know, because they understand the need in today's world for keywords. People are only hunting online. Number 13, a beautiful blown glass enamel decorated cheese dome just brought $475 at DuMouchelles in Detroit. It was circa 1870, and it's really nice to see glass prices like this tick up. This is more like the prices of 20 years ago, and it's why I want you to follow this trend. All right, number 12 is a double-sided fishing tackle trade sign that caught a bid for $900 at Leland Little. You know, this checked several boxes for the collectors out there. Fishing and sports collectibles, advertising, folk art, just to name a few. And we call this cross-collectible in the business. And it means there's a larger audience of collectors and bidders and buyers that are willing to step up. Also take note when you're hunting for antiques, look for cross-collectibles. Number 11, the Rowenta electric table lighter that just sold for $1,000 at Wrights in Chicago. It was only 3 1/4 inches tall from the 1960s and silver plate. Again, smoking collectibles. See how I beat a point home? You might have left a $1,000 lighter on a table at a thrift store or yard sale and not even know it. Now you're going to take a second look. Number 10, a Chinese bronze covered hand warmer just hammered for $2,200 at Heritage. From the Qing Dynasty and approximately 4 by 5 inches for perspective, it further illustrates how wild the Chinese antique and collectible market at auction is this day. You know, if I would have praised this piece tomorrow, I would have said it was $300 to $500. The demand is so strong, and the bidders will decide what the value is these days, and I don't see any book value coming out to assist appraisers or antique dealers in the near future in Asian antiquities. It's just so unpredictable, but on the awesome side. All right, number 9 is a Wells Fargo 1908 no motto $20 St. Gaudens double eagle gold piece that brought $6,000 at One Great Deal in Meridian, Idaho. I couldn't end the season without featuring these guys. They have the most amazing coin and currency auctions week in and week out. And if you've been watching gold prices recently, it's crazy. They're finally shooting up and making sense with the economic times we're in. Historically, that's what gold does, but oddly, when the economy first hit the skids with the corona quarantine, the prices of metals dropped, and I really thought this was the strangest thing. But just when I really started questioning it and getting the conspiracy theory in my head, gold and silver began to climb as they should, specifically when the markets look the way they do. So, we are still living in the twilight zone, but if you have a strong position in gold, you will be fine with our new zombie overlord masters that will be landing on our planet very soon, ZOD 2020. Anyway, did I tell you this was going to be my best episode ever? Number 8 is the Japanese Meiji period trunk that just brought $6,000 at Abell's weekly sale. It had a $200 to $300 pre-auction estimate on it, and again, it's what I would have guessed as well. Notice I say guess. An auction estimate is typically just that. It's an educated guess. The market will decide the worth of an item. You know, just a side note, I love it when someone tells me, this is worth X. I often want to respond with, oh, do you have a buyer? Because most things are not truly worth anything until you sell it or have a willing buyer. All right, number 7, a Lladro porcelain group titled 18th Century Coach just hammered for $9,500 at Alex Cooper in Townsend, Maryland. This is a great price for Lladro these days. You know, Lladro, like Armani, Royal Dalton, Goebel, and more, you know, they've been soft over the past 5 years or more. You know, and if you've been watching this season, you might be seeing what I'm seeing, and a little bit of a trend up. Not the prices of a decade ago or anywhere near retail, but nice to see. And if you're downsizing or offering a collection at auction, you might be a little happier with the results. All right, number 6. This is the 1934 Familia Rose table screen that just hammered for $16,000 at Heritage. Attributed to Wang Defang and only 16 inches overall, it featured an 8x5 hand-painted panel that falls in that Chinese antiquities or crazy at auction category. You know, the price, you just got to keep your eyes peeled for these. Many of these amazing finds were scattered across the world during and after the Cultural Revolution in China. And now with China's historic burgeoning economy, many with newfound wealth and a hunger to collect the past, the prices are rising to meet this demand. You see, sometimes simple economics actually make sense. Number 5, a Carlo Mollino chair just crushed it. $30,000 at Wrights in Chicago. This circa 1953 mid-mod beauty is an excellent example of the craze in all things mid-century modern. The Italian architect, designer, and photographer Carlo Mollino was instrumental in bringing Italian industrial design to America. I recall a few years back that an oak and glass table from about 1948 set the record for 20th century furniture. It was $3.8 million at auction. I'm not sure if it's ever been beat, but I'm sure my fans will tell me if I'm wrong. All right, I love this next one. Number 4, George Stouts Diaries. They just hammered for $40,500 at KC Auction in Kansas City, Missouri. Who's George Stout and why so much? He's George Clooney. No, okay. He's Lieutenant Commander George Leslie Stout, and he was one of the first to join the Monument Men and the first to go ashore at Normandy. If you've seen the movie The Monuments Men, George Clooney's character is loosely based on George Stout's service. These were his actual diaries and an amazing glimpse into a real-life adventure and just a fascinating man. Okay, get ready for cuckoo. This one's crazy. Number 3 is a carved and painted bird tree that sold for $103,700 at Poke and Poke, Downingtown, Pennsylvania. One of the finest examples of turn-of-the-century folk art you will find. This was by Stockschnitzler Simmons of Berks County, Pennsylvania. He was known to be active between 1885 and 1910, and this highly prized folk art beauty did not disappoint. I can tell you, it's just so wonderful to see antiques like this coming back. These are the prices of old. And I actually went to school in Berks County, Pennsylvania. That's where I got my auctioneer's license. Anyway, number 2, this one's crazy. The John Drissel Painted Pine Slide Box brought $134,200 again at Poke and Poke in Downingtown. This painted pine box was inscribed and dated by John Drissel of Bucks County, Pennsylvania, 1796, and it was 3 by 5 by 7 per perspective. It got weird for me when I read the provenance. The original owner, Anna von Red, inscribed on the box, was found in the New Goshenhoppen Church Register's birth records. This is a small town, and it's not far from where I was raised, and I actually attended a few services at this church and their legendary folk festivals, which were awesome. You know, I saw it also in the provenance, said it was purchased at Lower Milford Township, and it's funny because the Lower Milford Township Fire Hall, where they held auctions, is where I held my first auction, and I went to elementary school there. It's crazy. I also went to school with a Larry Drissel, who's probably a relative of John Drissel. This is such a small area. You need to realize that. So I'm just hoping I wasn't the guy that sold that box years ago. Okay, season 2, what am I ending you with? At number 1 is 2 volumes of the 400 Ming Dynasty Yongle Encyclopedia volumes known to exist. Now, this is only 2 of the 400, and they were estimated to bring between $6,000 and $8,000 US. They sold for just under $9 million. This was at Buisson Lefebvre, a Paris-based auction house, and they absolutely crushed it. So, if you can find 1 or more of the 398 that are left, enjoy your retirement. This is what makes auctions so fun and so addictive. And that was a lot of show. I hope you really enjoyed it. So it's time for viewers' email. So let's see what we got. All right, it's Lisa J from Cincy, represent. Lisa asks, are you always as hyper as you are in the videos? I don't know what you're talking about because I take horse tranquilizers before each show. No, I kid. I just get so amped up whenever I have the opportunity to spread the word, the auction word. Thanks again, everyone, for your great questions. And remember, you can always email me at josh@joshlevinespeaks, even while I take this short break from this show and series to work on a few more. Anyway, trust me, I'm working on other stuff. And remember, if you like my stories, you can always have a free listen or buy my new audiobook, Why Don't You Want My Stuff? The link is below. So before you go, subscribe below. It's free. Give me a thumbs up, post a comment or question. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Check out all the great auction houses I talked about and on today's show. And I'm also putting all the auction houses I featured this season at the bottom as well. Check them out, and don't forget, 6 ways in 6 days you can help small businesses. 6 and 6D. Hashtag, yeah, it's my way and should be your way too of paying it forward. Until next season or last week at the auction.